Welcome to Chronicles of History, where we embark on a captivating journey through the annals of time. In celebration of Black History Month, today's video is about Plessy versus Ferguson, the case that defined an era. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this look back into history.
Our journey today takes us back to the 1890s, a period marked by profound social and political changes in the United States. This era, steeped in the aftermath of the Civil War, saw the rise of oppressive Jim Crow laws across the South. Racial tensions were high, and the nation grappled with defining the equality promised in the wake of the 13th Amendment. In this charged environment, one case stood out, forever shaping the course of American history: Plessy vs. Ferguson. Our story begins on a seemingly ordinary day in 1892, when Homer Plessy, a man of mixed race, decided to challenge the system. Plessy, a free man of color, was 1/8 black and 7/8 white, but in the racially divided state of Louisiana, he was considered black. He embarked on a daring act of civil disobedience. Knowing full well the consequences of his actions, Plessy purchased a first-class ticket and boarded a whites-only train car in New Orleans. This was a direct violation of the Separate Car Act, a law that mandated equal but separate accommodations for white and black passengers on railroads. The act was more than just a piece of legislation. It was a grim symbol of the racial segregation that was deeply entrenched in the South. It was a law that perpetuated the notion of racial inferiority, and Homer Plessy was about to challenge it head-on. As expected, Plessy was arrested and charged with violating the Separate Car Act. His arrest, however, was far from an ordinary event. It was a calculated move, part of a larger strategy orchestrated by the Comité des Citoyens, or the Citizens Committee, to challenge the legality of the Separate Car Act. Plessy's arrest was the spark that ignited a legal battle that would reach the highest court in the land. Plessy's case was not just a fight against an unjust law, it was a fight against a system designed to perpetuate racial inequality. Imagine a legal battle, not just waged in a court of law, but in the court of public opinion. A struggle against a system that had been carefully constructed over decades. This was the battleground for Homer Plessy, a man who dared to challenge the status quo. When Plessy's case first came to court, his lawyers, Albion Tourget and James C. Walker, argued that the Separate Car Act violated the 13th and 14th Amendments. They contended that the law was a thinly veiled attempt to degrade and control the black population under the guise of separate but equal. In contrast, the state of Louisiana, represented by Attorney General Milton Joseph Cunningham, asserted that the law was not about racial superiority, but was, in fact, a reasonable public policy aimed at preventing racial conflicts. The Louisiana Supreme Court disagreed with Plessy's lawyers. They ruled that the state had the right to regulate railroad companies as long as they operated within Louisiana's borders. This decision was a blow to Plessy and his legal team, but they were far from defeated. Plessy's lawyers appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, presenting the same arguments. They emphasized that the Separate Car Act was not just about railway carriages. It was about the larger issue of racial segregation, a practice that was fundamentally at odds with the principles of freedom and equality enshrined in the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Supreme Court's response to Plessy's case would set a precedent for the entire nation. The 9 justices were not just deciding the legality of a state law or the fate of one man. They were determining the course of racial segregation in the United States. Their decision would not only determine Plessy's fate, but also the future of racial segregation in America. On May 18, 1896, the Supreme Court delivered its verdict, a decision that would echo through the annals of American history. In a 7-1 ruling, the court upheld the constitutionality of racial segregation, paving the way for the infamous separate but equal doctrine. This doctrine held that as long as facilities for different races were equal in quality, their separation did not violate the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. It was a verdict that, while seeming fair on the surface, would go on to justify decades of racial discrimination and inequality. The lone voice of dissent in the court came from Justice John Marshall Harlan. He argued that the Constitution was colorblind and should not permit any form of racial discrimination. Sadly, his views were in the minority, and the majority ruling held sway. The immediate impact of the Plessy vs. Ferguson decision was a grim one. It effectively legalized racial segregation, leading to the implementation of the notorious Jim Crow laws across the southern states. These laws enforced racial segregation in public facilities, schools, and transportation. casting a long and dark shadow over the lives of African Americans for more than half a century. The long-term implications of the verdict were equally profound. The separate but equal doctrine remained unchallenged for more than 50 years, until it was finally overturned by another landmark case, Brown v. Board of Education, in 1954. The Plessy v. Ferguson decision also served as a stark reminder of the Supreme Court's power to shape societal norms and interpretations of the Constitution. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of Plessy v. Ferguson is the conversation it ignited about racial equality and civil rights. It spurred a collective determination to fight for justice and equality, a struggle that continues to this day. Thus, Plessy v. Ferguson became a landmark case, etching the doctrine of separate but equal into the fabric of American law. The echoes of Plessy v. Ferguson can still be heard today, a reminder of a divisive past and a call to action for a more equitable future. This landmark case from the late 19th century, shrouded in the shadow of systemic racial segregation, left an indelible mark on the fabric of American society. It took nearly 60 years for the separate but equal doctrine to be dismantled, with Brown v. Board of Education standing as a beacon of hope in the relentless pursuit of justice and equality. Today, Plessy v. Ferguson remains a potent symbol, a chilling reminder of the power of law and its capacity to either reinforce or challenge societal norms. It continues to spark conversations about race, equality, and justice, echoing through the corridors of time. As we conclude this journey into the past, we are reminded that history is not just about remembering, it's about learning, growing, and striving for a better tomorrow.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and comment below with your thoughts on this content. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to join our community of history lovers. Let's embark on this incredible voyage together, unraveling the chronicles of history one story at a time. Until next time, thanks for watching.